The lights of the mansion flickered like they were shivering from a secret, and the millionaire, pale and trembling, whispered the words that would change everything. "Please, don't let them take me back down there." But the cleaning lady Maria froze, because he wasn't pointing at anyone. He was pointing at the reflection in the window. If that moment already sent a chill down your spine, stay with me until the end. What happens next? Nobody in town could have imagined. And hey, if this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me your city in the comments. I've been telling stories for 10 years, but this one might be the most unbelievable of all. It all began 3 weeks before Christmas. Maria had been hired temporarily to clean the enormous Frostwood estate, the largest house in the entire snowy town. The owner, Lucas Halle, had been a millionaire since his early 20s, a genius tech investor. But now, he was known as the sick man in the mansion. Every week, ambulances came and went. Every week, his condition worsened. And every week, every doctor said the same thing: "We can't find the cause." Maria didn't expect to ever meet him. She was just there to mop floors, dust antiques, and quietly pray the temperature stayed warm enough so her old car would start after her shift. Christmas was coming, money was tight, and she needed this job more than anything. But on her first morning, as she wiped down the grand staircase railing, she heard coughing, violent, painful, echoing through the hall like someone trying to breathe through broken glass. She followed the sound and found Lucas collapsed against the wall, sweating, trembling, his skin pale as winter frost. "Sir, are you all right?" she cried, rushing toward him. His eyes locked onto hers, wide, scared, and confused. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "They don't like strangers." Maria looked around. There's no one else here but us. But Lucas shook his head slowly, like a terrified child afraid of the dark. "You don't understand. They're always here." That was the first moment Maria knew something was terribly wrong. Not medically, not physically, but something deeper, like the house itself was poisoning him. Still, she brushed it off. Stress does that to people, right? But that night, as she scrubbed the marble floors, she heard footsteps upstairs. Heavy ones. Except Lucas had been taken to the hospital 2 hours earlier. Her heart pounded. She called out. No answer. Christmas lights outside flickered through the windows, casting moving shadows across the floor. It felt like the mansion was breathing, watching. The next day, Lucas returned home, exhausted, barely able to stand. Maria tried to keep her distance. She needed the job, not trouble. But when she saw a tray of food left untouched outside his door, cold, days old, she couldn't help it. She knocked softly. "Sir, you should really eat something." Silence. She pushed the door open and froze. Lucas was sitting on the floor, back against the bed, hands gripping his head like he was holding himself together. "They come at night," he whispered. Maria swallowed. "Who?" He pointed at the ceiling. "The ones who took my father." Her breath caught. Nobody ever talked about his father. The man had died suddenly years ago, supposedly from a heart condition, alone in the same mansion. Maria felt a sting of fear, but also something else. Empathy. Christmas is supposed to bring people together, right? Maybe Lucas just needed someone to talk to. Someone real. "Sir, Lucas," she said softly. "Let me help." He looked up, tears in his eyes. "No one has said my name in this house in years." And just like that, the cold mansion felt a little warmer. But the warmth didn't last. That night, Maria found a hidden basement door behind the wine cellar. Dusty, locked, with thick metal bolts, like something was meant to stay inside, or meant to stay out. When she touched the door, Lucas screamed from upstairs. A scream of pure terror. She ran to him, heart racing, and found him on the floor, gasping, clutching his chest. "They opened the door again," he whispered. "But I didn't open. They know you're here." That was the night Maria realized the truth wasn't outside the mansion. It was inside, around them, watching. The next morning, The housekeeper, Mrs. Renistiff, cold woman, who always wore black, cornered Maria in the hallway. "You're getting too close," she said in a sharp whisper. "Do your job, and nothing more." Maria frowned. "I care about him." Mrs. Wren's expression iced over. "Caring is dangerous here." Something about her tone made the hair on Maria's neck rise. From that moment on, Maria understood. Everyone in this house knew something. Something Lucas didn't. Something they didn't want him to know. But Maria wasn't like them. She wasn't afraid of the truth. Over the next few days, she began secretly investigating watching patterns, listening to whispers, noticing the way Mrs. Wren replaced Lucas's water with a special bottle only she handled, how his meals were supplemented with a bitter-smelling powder, how he only got sick after he ate or drank anything from the staff. And then it hit her like a snowstorm. Lucas wasn't sick. He was being poisoned. The realization shook her so hard she had to grab the railing. But she needed proof. So, one night, when Mrs. Wren left a cup of night tea by Lucas's door, Maria took a sample and tucked it into her coat. That night, Lucas couldn't breathe. Maria stayed with him the whole night, placing a cold cloth on his forehead, whispering prayers, holding his trembling hand until sunrise. When the lab results came back the next day from an old pharmacist who owed Maria a favor, the truth almost knocked her off her feet. The tea contained microdoses of a toxin that mimicked illness. Slow poisoning, just enough to keep someone weak, dependent, confused, just like Lucas. But why? Maria rushed back to the mansion, heart pounding, snow whipping against her coat. Christmas lights glowed all around town, families laughing, children playing, the world preparing for joy. But inside Frostwood Estate, there was only darkness. She stormed into Lucas's room and found him lying on the bed, barely conscious. "Lucas, listen to me," she gasped, kneeling beside him. "You're not sick. Someone is doing this to you." He blinked slowly, confusion swimming in his eyes. "What? Who would want to hurt me?" Maria swallowed hard. "The people you trust." Before she could say more, the door swung open. Mrs. Wren, 2 security staff behind her, cold eyes, tight jaws. You should not have discovered that," Mrs. Wren said calmly. Maria's heart hammered. "Why? Why are you doing this?" Mrs. Wren stepped forward. "Because Lucas was never supposed to take over this estate. His father left it to him by mistake. We were the ones who built this empire, not him." Maria's stomach twisted. "You killed his father." Mrs. Wren didn't deny it. "You ruined this family," Maria said, her voice shaking with fury. "On the contrary," Mrs. Wren replied, "we preserved what mattered, and we can't let you undo that." Security stepped forward. Maria grabbed Lucas's hand. "Get up," she whispered. "I'm getting you out." But Lucas was too weak. Maria looked at the window. Snow falling. Cold air slicing the night. No time. No plan. Just desperation. With all her strength, she dragged Lucas toward the balcony door and pushed it open. Freezing wind blasted them, but Maria didn't stop. She helped him over the railing, lowering him onto the thick pile of snow below. Then she jumped after him. Security burst through the room, but it was too late. Maria pulled Lucas through the snow, toward her old car, parked near the gate. Her hands burned from cold. Her breath fogged the air, but she didn't stop until she shoved him inside and slammed the door. Taste Bedwai, the mansion shrinking in the rear mirror. Christmas lights reflecting off the snow like tiny sparks of hope. For the next few days, Maria cared for Lucas in her small apartment. Warm blankets, real meals, clean water, no poison, no fear. And for the first time in years, he began to recover. Color returned to his face, strength to his voice, clarity to his mind. One evening, as snow drifted softly outside her window, Lucas looked at her and whispered, You saved my life." Maria smiled. Everyone deserves a real Christmas miracle. But the real miracle came 2 weeks later. Lucas returned to Frostwood Estate, his time with police, lawyers, and medical proof. Mrs. Wren and the corrupt staff were arrested. The entire estate was investigated. And for the first time in decades, the truth came out. Lucas's father didn't die from a heart condition. He was poisoned too. Lucas took back everything: his home, his business, his legacy. But he didn't just rebuild the estate, he transformed it. And on Christmas Eve, he stood beside Maria, smiling as they opened Frostwood Estate to the entire town. Lights everywhere. Music, warm food, laughter echoing through the halls that were once filled with fear. Lucas raised a glass to the woman who gave me a second life. Maria blushed, wiping a tear, and that night, under the soft glow of Christmas lights, Lucas whispered, "Maria, stay. Not as staff, as family." She nodded, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she belonged somewhere. But even though justice had been served, something in Maria's heart felt unfinished. She had saved Lucas, yes, but deep inside, she couldn't shake the question. Why did Lucas's father trust no one but the staff, except her? What made his final days so hidden? And Lucas, now growing stronger each day, felt the same. The more he healed, the more memories resurfaced: fragments of conversations with his father, glimpses of papers hidden away, warnings he never took seriously. Maria could see it in his eyes as they walked the snowy path behind the estate one evening. "Lucas," she said softly, "what aren't you saying?" He stopped walking. "There's something my father left behind," he whispered. "Something I've avoided for years. When he died, I found a letter, sealed, addressed to the one who chooses truth over comfort. I never opened it." Maria inhaled sharply. "Lucas, that letter might explain everything." He nodded slowly. "It's in the old study, the one Mrs. Wren kept locked." A shiver traced down Maria's spine, not from the cold, but from the weight of what they were about to uncover. They walked back inside the mansion, past the warm glow of Christmas garlands and laughing children. Lucas unlocked the door with a trembling hand. Dust floated in the air like tiny ghosts of the past. He walked to a drawer, opened it carefully, and pulled out a small envelope deep yellow with time. Maria felt her heartbeat in her ears. Lucas sat down, then he opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter and a single photograph. Lucas at 10 years old, smiling proudly in front of the Christmas tree, and his father behind him, holding his shoulders gently. Lucas's breath hitched. Maria sat beside him. He unfolded the letter. "My son, if you are reading this, then truth has already found its way to you. And truth is not gentle. I always knew the people around me wanted my wealth more than my heart. So I protected you the only way I knew how, by keeping you away from the darkness in this house. But I was wrong. You were never weak. You were meant to break this cycle." Lucas's hands shook. The letter continued. "One day, a heart pure enough will enter this home. Someone who chooses kindness over power. Someone who will see what others overlook. That person will free you." Maria felt her breath catch. Lucas looked at her, stunned. "It's you," he whispered. "He meant you." She swallowed hard, emotions rising in her chest. "Lucas, he saw something in you worth saving too, even before the world did." He continued reading, "Trust the one who stays when there is nothing to gain. They will reveal the truth and save you when I no longer can." A tear slipped down Lucas's cheek. Maria gently wiped it away. The room seemed to hold its breath quiet, sacred, filled with a father's love that finally reached its son. Lucas folded the letter with trembling care. "He knew," he whispered. "He knew they'd try to take everything. And he knew you'd rebuild," Maria said softly. "Not because of wealth, but because of heart." The snow outside fell harder, sparkling under the lights. Lucas took a deep breath, one that carried years of pain leaving his body. "Maria," he said quietly. He didn't, who sabi me? You restored my family. She shook her head gently. No. Your father left a light. I just helped you see it. He looked at her with something deeper than gratitude, something warm, steady, and new. They walked back into the great hall, where families who had once feared this mansion now laughed inside it. And as the clock struck midnight, Lucas raised a glass and said, "To healing, to truth, to the people who walk into our lives and change everything." Maria felt her heart swell, and just before the room erupted in cheer, Lucas whispered to her, softly enough for only her to hear, "Thank you for giving me my life back." If this story filled your heart, even a little, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your city below. It helps the channel more.